Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing great. So today we are going to have a very meaningful, in-depth conversation around the entire UPSC examination trend, especially for this year mains. So with all of our core faculties and some of our faculties like Umesh Sir and Sudeep Sir, Pradeep Sir and also Dheeraj and many others, they are taking classes right now. So I thought I will, gather the faculties available. We will make another video with them also. So I wanted to have a very candid, open conversation with all of you. And we have Shashank Sir, we have Nikhil Sir, we have Manjunath Sir, we have Ashish Sir, we have Vikas Sir, and we have Ganesh Sir. And I am Vinay Kumar GB. Right. So yes, so what is the current trend in UPSC when it comes to mains examination? I've been, seeing the marks, trying to analyze also, and I see that essay marks is coming down, and GS 1 and 3, the scores, it's very difficult to score 100 plus. So despite that, I think Shakti Dubey rank 1, she has scored 112 this year, and paper 4, I think it has gone till 140, and again in optional the marks have come down. So apart from this, like Ashish and Manju, like you can start with Ashish.
Yes,
What
sir.
is your observation?
Yes, sir. Rightly said. In the recent times, as what we see is that the general studies scores, especially in paper 4 and essay, have increased a lot, which have helped the aspirants to get the final list. But the nature of the questions, especially for the other GS papers like 1, 2, and 3, are much more deeper, which needs a lot of analytical understanding. The questions are not very out of the box, but it needs deeper understanding and analytical skills. Now, when you're writing in the examination, the points need to be substantiated because just giving a layman arguments and just superficial arguments is not yielding the results. Because just completion of the paper is not a problem for many of the aspirants because they're able to write the paper, but they're not able to write in the right way as what it is expected. So now the deeper analysis is needed, sir. Deeper understanding of the
Okay, so you
issues.
specialize in paper 3 broadly. Again, geography optional also you have taught. Coming to paper 3, why do you think it is difficult to score more marks?
Yes, sir. Rightly said. As you said, Shakti Dubey also recently All India rank 1, she scored 86. The students are not score more than 90s or 95. The reason is very simple because most of the times people focus more upon economy. Economy out of 250 marks is merely 50 marks, only 4 questions. And whatever the 4 questions are coming, out of that, 3 questions are, let us consider one is related to the basics, and other two need deeper understanding. They will not just ask, for example, last time they asked a question about explain the trend and analysis of the public expenditure on the social sector, which needs not to have just the numbers or data. We need to tell how it is changing over the period of the time post LPG reforms. This is what they asked. For that, we need to have the idea about just not social sectors like education, health, everything. So the questions are in just a way where you need to have an interlinked based approach. Similarly, for internal security, sir, the questions are more or the less more specific. Overground workers, hot pursuit, surgical strike. So these are the topics which need clear cut clarity in the idea of that particular respective topic. And also the questions are never like explain what is the meaning of these challenges, factors, responsible. Questions are interlinked to each other. For example, explain the challenges along the borders of the Northeast India and how it is linked to the insurgency. And what are the counter efforts. So matlab, you have to link 3 to 4 points of the syllabus and gather the content in that 3 hours and then write. Where the students are getting difficulty to gather that content, link all these aspects.
Okay, so I think in addition to that, your first point was excessive focus on the economy, ignoring other aspects of the GS3 paper. Second, you mentioned the word specificity, right? So
Right.
that is what I believe. In paper 3 and paper 1 especially, people have general understanding, but not the very specific in-depth understanding, and the specificity is not replicated in their answers. So it's a very vague example, generic example, superficial treatment to the question rather than exactly rating the specific demand of the question, I think. So Manju, according to you, so why paper 3 again? Why you think not able to score good marks? And paper 2, why we see some of them scoring till 120, 124? Why it is scorable in paper 2?
So the major reason, or the major challenge, if you identify with respect to GS2, is that as Ashish sir told about GS3, as they focus on more on economy part, here students largely stick to polity part, which is equally important, understand, because almost around out of 250 marks, 120 to 125 marks will be from polity itself, but another 75 marks will be from governance and social justice. That lot of students will miss, because social justice they will write very very generalistic. They keep writing about some welfare schemes, all those things, which is necessary, but you have to address it from larger DPSP part. You have to address it from welfare state or social contract theory. All those keywords matter a lot. They write about very generalistic, like schemes are not implemented properly, or there is some challenges with respect to corruption, which might be correct, but it will not substantiate things. That is most important. And even from polity, a lot of students stick to Lakshmikant, which Lakshmikant will not address the mains demand of the exam. So they will not have handwritten notes for last minute revision. And most importantly, they'll miss out on the deeper analysis of the PYQs, because they'll only read like syllabus but miss out on the PYQ. For example, last year also they have asked questions on, as every year they've asked on federalism. So if you have all those introduction, keywords, their conclusion, major Supreme Court judgment, yes sir, but like that, if you have everything ready, they can save a lot of time there.
No, they should have gathered them from primary sources like
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
editorials
Yeah,
that appeared on
correct.
federalism.
And most importantly, even in GS2, what matters a lot is those statements, sir. Like for example, when they're raising question on federalism, they have to quote Supreme Court said so and so in SR Bommai case, or when they're writing on right to privacy, they should say Supreme Court said so and so in Puttaswamy case, or Ambedkar said so and so in Constituent Assembly. Those statements actually will have a lot of answer. As you keep telling, sir, that in introduction and in conclusion, you will have a lot of scope to get that at least 1 mark extra.
Correct.
That lot of students will miss out.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That is major reason why I feel.
And what about secure compilation? So editorials, we frame questions from editorials.
Correct, sir.
And we prepare lots of synopsis. And throughout the year, like every day you take 6 questions. In a week we have at least 30 to 40 questions.
Correct.
So in a year we have nearly 800 to 900 questions with very good synopsis also. So you people used to, I think, primarily rely on making notes from the secure initiative.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is the source of mains notes making? We have secure compilation. Those who have luxury of time, they would have done that, right? So earlier, you used to have 3.5 months time for mains preparation.
Correct, sir.
So now, considering the short duration of mains, like now we have around 70 days, right? So what should be the way forward? How should they make notes? Should they join courses? For example, you people have launched intensive bridge course and Sudeep IAM course. So various courses are there. Like, should they join course or like?
Sir, again, it depends on their optional preparation and the level of preparation in your main syllabus also. So as you said, secure program. So secure program will give me the holistic coverage of all the current affairs and the basics in a single place. So that can be a very good source of preparation if I know what is being asked in PYQ, if I know the syllabus very well. So that can be option number 1. Option number 2, as we have launched the bridge course. So we have planned in such a way that, and as Ashish Sir was telling, so the entire GS preparation based on PYQs and the static part. The static part would have been missed, the current affairs would have been missed, and the interlinkage also will be missed. So I think I personally believe that the bridge course can help the students so that
you are going to cover PYQs also.
Yes, sir. We will cover the PYQ themes. We will tell them how to frame answers, how to write, and as Manjunath Sir said, introductions and the Supreme Court judgments and international relations. If you take, for example, you can predict questions. India, Bangladesh is in the news. Chances are high, chances are it is asked. Last 2 years back, Sri Lanka was asked. So we will make them ready with Bangladesh. Start with a definition, have facts ready, and what should be our opinion regarding the conflict that is happening in Bangladesh. So this is where I think the bridge course can help them be exam ready and be ready for those 3 hours.
Okay, so we have course, we have material. Now what I notice, another trend, especially when it comes to mains. Now in all the papers, across all the papers, optional, essay, every GS paper, I think originality is tested thoroughly. Right. I believe courses, they will help them get notes, they will help them do practice and everything. Now comes the individual mentorship. Okay, you people have joined, launched courses. Are you going to do individual mentorship?
Yes, sir. One of the core aspect of insights, whatever was like PSR crash course has been launched. So the thing what is lacking in the market is that the faculty is not accessible to the students in many cases. But here in insights, we have been always accessible. The other major point, what like Manju sir and told, is the fundamental change you told why the marks are reducing. So there was this initial belief that this is a generalist exam, but now that is completely changed. I don't think so that logic no longer applies. So now if you see that each GS paper, GS1, GS2, GS3, it requires certain level of expertise. So the way I prepare for GS1, I can't prepare the same way for GS3 because the subjects are different, the questions are very different. Now how I prepare for GS2, within GS2, how I write IR answers, it can't be the way I write polity answers. For example, in IR answers, maybe I'll bring more dimensions and more examples, but in polity, I have to quote reports. I have to specifically say what is the committee has recommended, case laws. So as Manju sir said, unless you have prepared all this, it won't work. So what I find is that one more thing, there is FOMO, means fear of missing out, and there is too much of content that is dumped, AI, etc. So like if you go back to secure initiative, initially, one of the good thing about secure initiative, what I personally feel was that if somebody who has not read current affairs for 1 year, all you have to do is that go through the secure initiative of last 1 year through the questions. Now why I'm specifically telling questions, now let us say uniform civil code is in use. So we can't prepare like 3 pages content. I look at what are the probable questions that are asked in secure initiative, take the crisp of it and make my points, I'll be exam ready. And this is where a personal mentorship can help. In that sense, we can tell students what to do, what not to do. Because as you rightly said, end of the day, taking the course is alone not important. It is not going to give that.
And also evaluate their answers.
Evaluate their answers and give them feedback. And more importantly, here personal mentorship, because we evaluate. But when we come in contact with the mentor, when I physically tell them what has to be done, I can tell a lot of points. But when I write on an answer script, maybe I'll miss off a lot of areas that has to be covered. So I feel personal mentorship is very, very important in today's.
No, that is very important. Everyone knows. It is the students, they should come forward and make use of the mentors.
Yes,
And all of you teach, and then you stay back at the institution, and then you are available also here. So, but again, you have your own pet students, like favorite students. I think Vikas has your own students, Ganesh has your own students. So the same students keep coming, like 10 students maybe, they keep coming back. So I think other students should understand that when all of you are available, when you are ready to give, especially this year mains, again, all the mains we were available, but this year mains, we are making a concerted, unified, united effort to ensure that not a single student who writes any test series at Insights IAS or joins any course at Insights IAS, so their answers, essays, everything is going to be evaluated. And especially when it comes to me, there is also some people think that he may be available, may not be available throughout the mains, and even beyond the mains I'm going to be available 3 to 4 days a week. And already I've started personally evaluating essays. Anybody in any part of the country, those who are preparing for the mains, I think they can send their essay copy, and they can come to Bangalore also. Bangalore has beautiful weather and setup, and Bangalore is, I think, the best IAS hub next to Delhi now. I think in terms of everything, right? So we are consciously doing it, and I think especially Vikas, you were a mentor, like a core mentor to mentors. He has been mentoring so many students. So tell me why mentorship is very important.
So overall, for the entire preparation, mentorship does matter. The main reason is students. It's not that students are not ready to work hard. One of the common problem that we see is that they don't know what is the right direction to go. So they put effort, but unless and until it is directed towards what UPSC is expecting, it will not be fruitful. Maybe at times it might take 1 year, at times it may take 2 or even 3 years and end up lot of spending of time. But when they know the right direction, that will help them to simplify their efforts. Not that they will find a shortcut, but they will make sure that they are going in the right direction. That is where mentorship plays a key role.
How many times so they should approach?
It depends on what exactly they are requiring and in which phase of the preparation they are. Initially, maybe they will require more frequent visits to a mentor because they will be completely fresh in their preparation. So they need to start from scratch, like how to start studying. They will come with most simplest questions. Do we have to sit and study for 16 hours in a day? Is it a truth? Or can we do it with even 10 to 12 hours a day? So that is where they start with. And gradually they pick up the pace. By the time they come to their mains or the latest phase of preparation, they will probably need little less number of mentorship sessions in terms of quantity, but the quality of mentorship sessions will change.
Mm-hmm.
So initially what they get from each session, maybe they might be getting something which is like 10% of the entire session, but towards the end, even if they get half an hour session, they will make sure that they get what is required for even more than half an hour.
Okay.
So that changes.
So quality of mentorship matters.
Yes.
So when it comes to mains specific, like what should be the approach of the student when they meet the mentor? Like for what is the purpose they should be coming to a mentor?
Sir, what I feel is first thing is lack of planning. Sometimes they overemphasize prelims. They don't understand what is required for mains. Insights has basically has grown as a qualitative institute because of its stress on the mains preparation. So which students miss out. So they don't understand the value of answer writing practice. Second thing is they don't know what resources to be followed. Just like just now we discussed about how should they preparing the notes. They start from the scratch. They start writing India's Union of States. They start from there. Eventually they end up in writing the same textbook one more time, which you don't know how to start the notes. Third thing is overlaying on AI. So people come up with some technical definition which is very technical. They don't understand even a word of it, which is very difficult for them to understand what is the exam environment. Exam environment, it pushes you to come up with something on your own. If I can give an example, when the cryptocurrencies were new, we are preparing for cryptocurrencies, economical impact, financial impact, even internal security aspect of it. But they asked a social aspect of cryptocurrency, which was totally new for us. It tends us to think then and there itself. Those who rely on content, that is enormous of content available on the net, which is directionless, or relying on AI, cannot think on their own. So mentors should help them to understand the things on their own perspective, especially ethics, right? When the topper score 140, it requires a lot of originality. Without thinking on their own, they cannot come up with on their original content, which is very important. And some GS questions also looks very abstract. Once there was a question like, what were the significance of bull and lion in the Indian culture, ancient history, which is very difficult to come up with an answer if they don't know how to think then and there. So their mentors can help them to understand their strengths and weaknesses. So some students like who write essays, they are good at coming up with anecdotes. Some of them will be good at coming up with some quotes and explaining the quotes in relation to the essay. Some of them will be good at breaking down the essay and making the things clear to the evaluator. So mentors should identify the strengths of them and make sure that they are grooming their own strengths and make sure they're coming with some quality answers. Otherwise, they will end up in following some toppers copies.
Correct.
And chasing some enormous content on the net and eventually wasting your time.
So, what is your opinion with respect to people downloading toppers copies and collecting all the examples from 10 different toppers, ethics answers, or whatever answers, and then trying to put them in their own answers? So, what is your view? Should that be the right approach?
Sir,
is it the
obviously-
right approach?
Yeah, so obviously they have to refer to toppers copy, sir. At least that should only be for reference. Means let us say, for example, someone might be scoring good in GS2 or GS3. Maybe he is not scoring up to the mark in GS4. He can refer, but he has to only identify, okay, what was I going wrong? Where is that person getting better score? You cannot just copy paste the same thing because our strengths, our weakness will not be same as others. Maybe you might be very good in, someone might be very good in presentation skill, but someone might be very good in content part. So, but just because someone else is good, you cannot just copy paste the same thing. It will not work like that. It is only for reference to identify strengths and weakness, but they have to understand what is their core strength. Accordingly, they have to write the answer. And as you keep telling, sir, originality matters a lot because we can look at various toppers. Some core things will be there. Yes, they will address the demand of the question. Presentation at least will be average level or at least above that. But someone will be very good in, as we told, dimensions. Someone might be very good in language. Someone will use quotes more. Someone will use examples more. So we cannot just make a one-stop solution for all, or you just write this one-size-fits-all approach will not work, sir.
What do you think?
Yes, sir. Definitely, as Manju sir said, we need to just take the reference of it for understanding the methodology about how the topper is doing. One. Secondly, any different way to think about a particular topic which I would have not thought, that I can get it from there, but only for the reference. Thirdly, last time I had one student who had scored very good marks in GS paper 3. It was about 87. What he did, he understood that rather than writing the complete big sentence, if I'm using the temporal approach, for example, GDP contribution of the MSM, how it has changed pre-LPG and post-LPG. What he did, he used to draw chota sa bar graphs, pie charts. It was very impressive. What he said is that, when I was discussing with him, he told that when I was seeing the budget, the language that budget uses, the way the analysis is put on, if I put the same in my answers, it becomes much more representative because diagrams, pie charts are the ways and the methodology where you can put lot of analysis in very limited amount of words, and which becomes much more effective to hit the bullseye. So these things one can take from the topper's copy.
Okay, so I think that's what, to sum up what you both said, the one is to understand the standards,
Correct, sir.
Right.
the benchmark. So you may be at this level, the topper's essay or answer is at this
True.
level. So to bridge the gap, whether it is perspective, whether it is methodology, whether it is presentation, whether it is structuring, quality of example, quality of introduction. So they should check that, assess that, and then improve according to. I think then comes this course,
Yes, sir.
improving the quality of the content, and also the mentorship. Most importantly, the mentorship, because when I go to Delhi, I get people, writing best essays. Maybe they may come from top DU schools, maybe IITs also, IIMs also. In Bangalore also, we have students like National Law School, 2 kilometers away from our institution. So they bring their essays. I see different standards, right? And I can easily tell them, this is how much you are going to get. And when somebody brings who is struggling with the essay, I can tell this is the gap, you are at 30 level. So whereas that essay is at 60, 65 level. To bridge the gap, what needs to be done? And in addition to whatever we discussed, there is another issue that keep coming up, when the students come. There is a category of student who haven't taken coaching, who have relied only on the online sources, who have been doing self-study. They are intelligent students. But they are coming and telling that they lacked guidance. Maybe they wanted to join they should have joined a course or something. Now some of them have cleared prelims, some of them have not cleared. So they are regretting that wasted the time, like 2 to 3 years.
Right.
They are thinking, we should have been there under certain guidance, certain kind of mentorship. Have you come across such kind of students?
Yes, sir. Rightly said, sir. There are many students who lack right mentorship. And in this context, as I will add to the Nikhil Sir what he said, there are very genuine people who are want mentorship and who are really working hard. For them, this time, what we are doing, we are giving our personal Telegram IDs.
Okay.
In this context, what will happen? The student who have really worked will get to know exactly in what direction one needs to do. And what has happened because of this online era and online coaching, selling the things for at a very, very cheap cost and not giving the right content.
Correct.
Because of this, what has happened?
Entire foundation course, like
They
some.
can easily get on Telegram.
And one more I wanted to add here is students think that now since I have completed my degree exam, UPSC is almost another degree exam where I can just simply download the notes and clear it. So, but as we discussed, it needs a lot of in-depth analysis, interlinkage of our topics, and mentorship also.
I'm telling you, most of the aspirants, they lack clear idea about, how much depth they have to go.
Correct, sir.
I mean, this exam is evolving in such a way, year after year, I'm seeing it, both the quality of students, when they come for mock interview, right? I see lots of depth in many of them. In their essays, the quality of education in some institutions is exponentially improving, whereas in most other institutions, it is either stagnant or going backward. So to bridge that gap, right, I think you should come and talk to experienced faculties, mentors, and show your efforts, whatever efforts you are putting, whether it is notes, whether it is answers you are writing. I think that validation is important. So of course, all of you are doing excellent job. So I think we have to be aggressive with respect to mentorship. So, and we have been doing that. So in a day, like, morning to evening, I don't know how many essays I evaluate, how many answers. So you people are also doing that. So currently, when we do it as a team, I think we will be able to do lots of justice to diversity of students. I mean, even their diverse problems also, I think. So one can go to GS to, Manju and Nikhil Sir and, Shashank, GS3 and GS1 to you, and also literature and also GS3 to you, and then paper on society, essay, right? Again, Umesh is there, Sudeep is there, and Pradeep is there. So I think collectively, when we put effort, I think it will be helpful. So one word for those who are doing self-study, away from institution. I keep telling, coaching is not sitting in the classroom and listening to a lecture and, making notes. They think that coaching is similar to what I told. That is why they download the lectures and, make notes. No, that doesn't start there and end there. It is 90% is beyond the classroom. I think meeting the right people, putting lots of efforts, through your own preparation and showing and practicing. I think that thing is actually missing. When you people were preparing, when Nandini got All India Rank 1 and all, I remember, you people would sit like this, 6 to 7 people. and discuss each and every answer copy. Now everyone is an island. Everyone, they disconnected. They go to their room, they watch video, and they look at toppers copy. Maybe they might watch this YouTube video also, and then try to do on their own. I think this peer learning is also important.
So just to add on one thing, like when you said the toppers copy, the problem here is that what many people think is that they can learn everything by looking at a toppers copy. So we say that you don't learn swimming by watching somebody swim unless you get into the water. And the other problem here also, like the toppers copy what is there, how do we know it is genuine? For a classic example, there was one student who had looked at a PSR toppers copy and he was basing his answers on that type. But when he deeply asked and looked into that toppers copy, what that was uploaded, it was when he wrote, he was not selected. So when he selected, his writing style was completely different, but the paper that was uploaded was not that which got him the marks. So many times it can be a bad reference.
It's a very important point. So sometimes we don't think about it. So he might have got ranked this attempt. So he or she might have written test series 3 years ago in some institution. That in the beginning, they would have just uploaded for the sake of claiming the rank, claiming the credit, right? And I have a popular, not popular, I have my own dialogue when it comes to toppers copy. Look at toppers copy in order to not to repeat any of it, especially the content part, because yours needs to be more original. You understand the benchmark, everything, but example, the structuring, presentation needs to be more unique, right? So people just blindly imitate, right? And
To add to that topper copy thing, recently one of the students of human literature secured a 615 rank. He couldn't crack prelims mains previous year, so he had gone through Damini IAS answer copy. So basically, he was overdoing everything. He was quoting more and more examples. He was trying to finish all the pages. So he was basically stuffing the data. But when he looked at her copy, she was handling the same content in a smart way. With the minimal example, she was bringing a more analytical viewpoint. So maybe this year what he worked was he focused less on content but more on presentation. Whatever he knows, he presented in a more analytical way. Though with less sentences, he tried to convey more qualitative answer. By that way, improved his marks by 35 marks. So maybe some genuine copies can help them to understand the way they can be smart enough with the content which they already know. So maybe that will help with respect to copies.
so what are the few mistakes these mains people commit during this duration between prelims and mains?
So, one common thing, especially those who are in their first or second attempt, that they do is they feel that mains is all about content. If we have all the content, automatically we can write good answers. So what they do is they end up, now we have 80 days nearly. So they end up at least 60-70 days collecting content only. When there is last 10 days, they write 3 or 4 tests and they completely compromise in the mains, which doesn't work. Content matters to some extent, but it's not all about mains. Most important thing is they have to be able to present whatever they know in 3 hours. That matters a lot. And also able to understand demand and how to structure the answer according to the demand. All of that requires a lot of writing practice. And especially in the actual mains, they will have 2 papers in a day. So they also have to have the physical strength to write. So these things come with only practice, not by gathering more content. So now is the time where they have to balance content building as well as writing. So many of them don't work on that part, the second part.
More writing practice
More
is
writing
required.
practice.
See, some of the students, like we have our famous core batch. So earlier you were telling that some of them are coming and telling that they want core batch kind of program for mains. So based on that, we launched yesterday only. I announced core batch for mains, CBM, confidence building measure, like CBM, something like that. Core batch for mains. So in that, the very core batch concept, when Nandini KR your batch used to write, every day 10 questions. So 3 day consecutively 10 questions each. 5th day full length test. 1 day gap, again another paper. 3 day consecutively 10 questions each, another full length, in between essay paper. Like this, 2 iterations, and within 40 days, it will be over. So there is going to be personal mentorship for every answer they write, every copy they write, and grading the marks. So we will not in-depth evaluate, but for every answer we will give 4, 5, 3, whatever marks they deserve. And then there is, with respect to there is not a single mentor. They can come to any of us. They can come to Ashish Sir also, Manju Sir also, Nikhil, anyone. They can go to anyone and they can get answers evaluated. I think for those, as you rightly said, content is already ready. Notes is already ready. Through IBC course, if they make notes, everything ready, they can immediately shift to this program simultaneously. For example, GS2 if you complete first. So I think we are starting with GS2, let us say. So they can immediately start writing the daily practice. So I think they are going to complement. So ultimately, practice is extremely important. Now another trend, because we started with the trend analysis, majority people are practicing now, as far as I understand. Of course, there may be some people in their initial period. Now, when everyone is writing answers, when everyone is practicing, throughout India, wherever they are, they know the importance of writing practice. Now, how should they distinguish, compared to their competitors? Yeah.
So one thing is answer should be specific to the paper. There can be urban flooding question in the paper 1, as well as the urban flooding question can come in the paper 3 also.
Specific to the GS paper.
GS paper. So urban flooding in the paper 1 mostly should be based on geographical aspect of it. Again, it should carry the flavor of more of the geographical angle. And GS3 should basically focus on more of disaster management part of it, as well as environment aspect of it. The question, though they'll be preparing for the urban flooding with the same content, they should be able to present it as per the need of the GS paper. That street smartness they should carry with them.
Okay.
Second thing is just dumping with the content is not good enough. Just like core batch we had started, that gives them opportunity for them to, with available content, they should be able to use the same example for multiple other questions in deriving multiple other dimensions to the different questions. So that in that way they can reduce the preparation time for more reading than spend time for more writing. That smartness is very much needed for mains preparation.
Correct.
Sir, to add upon this, I personally feel knowledge radiates. For example, what I mean by this is
Knowledge radiates.
in your answers. How basically,
Correct.
for example, if one is an avid reader, he reads a lot of newspaper, lot of writing. Definitely, in that 7 minutes, he can generate more points. The other competitor cannot generate it, who has just superficially prepared on that level. So, what I feel in my
Or even mechanically practiced also.
mechanically, it cannot be reproduced because questions are of that nature. What I feel, students are lacking newspaper reading, sir, and they are lagging to understand what is the particular issue from multiple dimensions. This is the most
And also they don't understand the context also.
Correct, sir.
When they miss reading newspaper, they don't know the context, in which context the question is asked.
Correct, sir. So these contexts will be understood on the basis of the current affairs understanding only. And linkage with the basics is definitely needed. But why this question is asked, the multiple aspects of it. For example, let us take example of Operation Sindhu. UPSC will not ask a direct question of Operation Sindhu. That is for 100%. Is what I feel. I'm
Correct.
getting it on mic. UPSC should not ask it, but it will ask something related to it, which we have never thought about it. For example, we have never thought about it after this. Let us consider after the terrorist attack, OGW का question आएगा, Jamaat-e-Islami का आएगा. They will ask something unique about it, which you can get it only through the newspaper, not through the notes.
Correct.
Or from the, for example, as you rightly said earlier, secure questions. Secure question ka importance, which I feel is that there are n number of the newspaper that we are using for the secure. From that we get articles reference. If you are reading that articles, the mind will open. And that
Also the dimension, like earlier you said that I think cryptocurrency example you gave. So majority people will be studying it, reading it from the majority perspective or broader perspective. So suddenly Operation Sindhu, they might link it with the cultural aspect maybe, right? Geopolitics anyway it is obvious. So beyond the obvious dimension, I think. So I think when you read editorials, multiple editorials on the issue, that will be there. So going back to the question, like when everyone is practicing, how do you distinguish?
One more thing, sir. Again, be creative in your presentation.
Good.
Why? Because presentation plays a very important role. Because they will also not have the time to read the complete answer. So how well my answer is spaced, how well I'm using graphs. For example, I'll be prepared. If there's a question on Naxalism, I can show a map where the declining Naxalism in the map, or for example, any question on geography. So this is how we add more value along with better presentation. So that can lead to better marks in our answer.
Creativity.
So, yes. Because I'll be mentally prepared. Geography, disaster management, international relationships, Bangladesh is asked. I'll have a small map of Northeast and Bangladesh to indicate what is the importance. The person sees it, he knows that you know the answer. So that is where we play with the mind of the person correcting the paper also, because we are making an impression on him. So that is one way. And Ashish Sir, as he told, that use of bar charts to indicate the changing trends of investments, etc. So we can focus more on not just writing answers, but also how can I make it more easier for the person to read.
Okay.
So again, as like what Ashish told, I personally feel that lack of newspaper reading is the main reason why people are not able to compete. The problem today is that now you look at different academies, they are all saying we are providing you ready-made content. You take it and you use it. The problem with using a ready-made content is that you don't do that analysis. So for example, let us take when there's a question in ethics that whatever is legal might not be ethical. Now 90% of them always will think about bureaucracy, etc. Because the question is not asking about bureaucracy. You can write any example. So you can give an example of cricket. There was a match between Australia and New Zealand. When the last ball, the bowler decided to bowl underarm because at that time there was no rule in cricket that you can't bowl underarm. So the problem here, one, they're not realizing how to read editorial page, and secure initiative, that's why I told it is undervalued. Why it is undervalued? They don't know how to utilize secure initiative. So the idea of secure initiative, what I think as of now, if there is an editorial, if a person is not able to understand what is important in that editorial, it comes in a form of a question. So then your mind starts working, okay, fine, this is also how I can think. The problem is that they're not understanding that. So many times what they will do, they'll bank on these ready-made materials, thinking that that is your solution for getting higher.
See, that is available for everyone, the same material. One individual thinks, because it is individualism. I am the only one who is, who has the access to this material or smart enough to make use of this, but there are thousands of people who are doing the same thing. So what is your
Sir, I ultimately believe UPSC is a mind game. So we have to be very strong in understanding what is our strengths, weakness, what is UPSC expecting, and we should always have our own perspective about why so-and-so person is improving, what we call as reflective thinking. Okay, where am I lacking? What is that other person? Let us say it can be rank 1 or rank 10, whatever. What are they doing? That is where, as you sir mentioned about the importance of peer group comes.
Correct.
If you are very strong, like 3, 4 or 5 people, normally if you have observed, if one person clears this year, next year, very high chances one other person will get into the list.
Correct.
That peer group also will matter a lot. In this era of this what AI or whatever we call it as, we can get, as it is famously said, you can buy content, but we can't buy expertise or we can't buy experience. So that is actually missing also this time. A lot of students are actually lacking that, sir.
okay?
Sir, last year we had a peer group here. Diya Das Gupta, Sandeep Singh.
Correct.
These were the peer groups of the core batch who definitely cleared successively. This is what.
Yeah, sir.
There is a
We
history
have
for
seen
it.
that throughout our experience.
Yesterday I met Hemant Sir and Deepak. who was there.
Gopal and
Yes, all of them again, Prithvik and Jagdish, all of them were in a group, and
We have
all of
seen
them
that
are in
over
the
a period of
cells.
10 years, we have seen that, sir.
Yes.
okay. So now another issue that I have seen, with respect to the pattern of the examination, the evolving trend also. Jaydev, when he got All India Rank 5, our OGP student, he had come and asked me a question. I still remember. Nobody had asked that question. Sir, when I'm writing 150-word answer, 250-word answer, what is the ratio of analysis and the factual content? Right. So somebody had told him, 80% you write examples, 20% fact. I told, no, the examination is evolving. It was in 2000 CSC 2019. I told it should be somewhere, roughly around 50-50, but 40% analysis, 60% example is fine. But I think now what I believe is that it holds to 60% analysis, 40% examples. So the introduction needs to be analytical. It should not be a fact. Right. And when you create sections within the answer, like 2 sections, 3 sections, I think first 2 to 3 point needs to be analytical. Especially when the directive word is, discuss, analyze, critically comment, critically examine. So I think if it is just explain, elucidate, examine, enumerate, I think what aspect you can write, the most of the factual, what it is. So this, I think, dimension, this understanding, many people lack. They just dump the content. And also large people, what I see, they go with the familiarity syndrome. One keyword is very familiar, they give excessive treatment to that, more weightage to that. So allocation of weightage, by dividing the parts. Again, you don't have to give equal weightage to each and every part. They should understand within the question, if it has 3 parts, which part requires more in-depth treatment analysis. So I think I'm sure you people are all going to do all these things. So to create toppers or to become topper, if you're watching the video, I think breaking the trends. Why we are discussing the trend is you have to be above the trends, or you create a new trend this year, new benchmark. So I hope all of our courses collectively and more than courses, I believe our individual experience,
Yes, sir.
mentorship, and so we promise that everyone will be available at Insights IAS at any time, not just for this mains, even for subsequent mains. And we have been working as a team, and we have built a wonderful platform, both online and offline. So I hope all of you will come and make use of the expertise and experience. Everyone sitting here has given multiple interviews, multiple mains. Some of you had got ranks in some other exams, and you have sacrificed your jobs, and we've been helping students. So I hope all of you found this particular session useful. And as I said, our remaining other faculties, we will have another session with them, and maybe if these people are free, these faculty, you can also come and join for another enriching, enlightening session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.